Hey, friends, greetings as we study again on Romans. Hope you guys are doing well. We are looking at chapter 3, verses 9 through 20. We are getting into a little bit deeper section of Romans, and we're going to look at a couple things that appear in this passage. Everything's kind of recirculating through here. Paul's making a pretty clear distinction between a few things and giving us some context for the book of Romans in these first three chapters. That's really important as we interpret the rest of Romans, or else Paul's going to sound crazy because he's going to contradict himself over and over and over. So in Romans 3 verse 9, it says, "What then? Are we better than they?" Talking about Jews and Greeks. "For we have already charged that both Jews," and he says, "Not at all, for we've already charged that both Jews and Greeks are all under sin." Okay, so he's equating these two things. We're going to look at that statement, "Are we better than they?" Not at all, here in just a minute. It's actually a Hebrew idiom. It says, as it is written, there is none righteous, not even one. There is none who understands. There is none who seeks for God. All have turned aside. Together they have become useless. There is none who does good. There is not even one. Their throat is an open grave. With their tongues," which means they're speaking death, right? "With their tongues they keep deceiving. The poison of asps is on their lips." So he's talking about how they're believing and speaking and teaching lies, right? "Whose mouth is full of cursing and bitterness. Their feet are swift to shed blood." So now they're not just speaking evil and curses, not just speaking evil or speaking against the Torah, but they are doing these things now. "Destruction and misery in their paths, and the path of peace they have not known." So that is the path that the Lord has for us, the path of peace. So they have not walked in that path, is what he's saying. Jews and Gentiles, both who have called themselves believers, they're not walking in this path yet. "There is no fear of God before their eyes." Now, we know that whatever the law says, it speaks to those who are under the law, so that every mouth may be closed and all the world may become accountable to God. So it tells us here the point of the law is that all the world can become accountable to God. There is one law for all people, because by the works of the law, no flesh will be justified in his sight, for through the law comes the knowledge of sin. So he's saying that the law was not created to bring justification or to bring us into right standing with God or to justify us before God, but it was there to show us what sin was. Okay. So we can't remove the law, or else we've removed the understanding of what sin is. Now, if you look at the bottom, I put in parentheses several cross references because Paul is pointing from a lot of Torah, a lot of the prophets, a lot of the Psalms. And so I put a few of those in there that you can reference, that are where he's basically taking this out and teaching a sermon about it from the Torah. But he's going to do a lot of different things with those passages, and you can look those up and y'all can read those together if you want and pull some more things out. But here are some important points. First of all, he's going to deal with the fact that replacement theology was going all the way back to this time, where Gentiles were coming into belief in Messiah, and they were saying, we're better than the Jews because the Jews haven't gotten it right. Well, none of us have gotten it right, is what he says over and over. There's none righteous. There's none who understand. There's none who seeks God. All have turned away. He's saying, so we've got two camps here, some believing Jews that are saying that have come to the table believing that because we're Jews, we don't have to be accountable to the law because our heritage saves us, and Gentiles who are coming in saying, well, we're better than the Jews because we have Messiah, and not submitting to the law. Okay. But the law does show us, according to what we just read, what sin is, that Jews and Gentiles have both fallen short of it, and that we will all be held accountable by God to that law. So those are the points we need to take away from here and build on as we understand the purpose of the law and the idea behind none of us are righteous, not even one. That is not just a concept that is introduced in Romans, but it's a concept that's introduced all throughout the Torah. It is both the Goim, the nations, the Gentiles, and it is the Jews. We are all one in Messiah. We are all grafted in together under Messiah to obey the law and to avoid transgression of the law so that we can be made righteous. God bless you. Shabbat shalom and enjoy your study.